where I come from. That's my history. That's my lineage. That's my line. And that's what ultimately will be, so to speak, passed on through DNA. But the family I created is the one that I will leave my legacy by. So with me personally, I speak my mind. I let people know how I feel. If they don't agree with it, so be it. Everybody's not going to agree with how I feel. But I'm the type of person that I stand on my word. Once I feel something in my gut, in my heart, I have to go with that. Whether you believe it or not, that's on you. But I have to speak my truth to power. You see, so I don't allow my family to get in the way. Let me say this. I don't allow my the family I was born into get into the way with the family I created. You see what I'm saying? Mm. They cross mingle because that's what they do. But there's a fine line. Mm. You see what I'm saying? There's a fine line, because one thing about it is when people get into relationships and marriages, that when you have a disagreement with your spouse or you having things going on with your kids, and I don't want to negate or throw under the bus your family, because sometimes your family, you have to go to your family. Sometimes you need help. Sometimes you need counsel, wise counsel. Let me put that in there, wise counsel, because always family is not the best route to go to, and I'll be the first one to say that. But you want to make sure. But
let me rebuttal that. When you say family is not the best to go to,
not all the time,
meaning they're always gonna pick a side, and sometimes you don't need that. You just need somebody who's totally,
You need somebody who's totally transparent, who doesn't look one way or another. You just want the real. Right. And sometimes when you put something in front of your family's face, depending on who family, what side you on, they're gonna be biased toward that individual.
Right.
And the
and then again, just to butt in, I hate to butt in, but I just want to bring this to your attention. A lot of time when you bring an issue to a family, whether it's the husband or the wife, you bring that issue to the family, and you bring it to them for answers. Okay, you may get the answer, you may not. But then after the situation or it's over, well, you in a situation where your family is still feeling a certain type of way about your spouse.
Absolutely. And
see what I'm saying?
And that's why I say you have to.
And now you left with that because you done moved on to the next phase, and they still thinking about what he did or what she did.
Harboring this feeling.
You see, so
what you went to tell, and that's why I say there has to be a fine line, because when you're married, a lot of times, you can ask for help, but sometimes you need to learn how to go through the storm. You need to learn how to go through your trial, or you need to learn how to walk through whatever path you're going through. Sometimes you gotta be alone. Mm. Sometimes you gotta be alone. And whether how you take that or not, I know what I mean by that. And what I mean by that is that when you are facing an issue that's very important or dire, that you feel like, oh my God, I feel like I'm about to break, or oh my God, I feel like I want to separate, or oh my God, he's tripping, or oh my God, she don't understand me. There's nothing that you have went through that's new. The Bible says nothing new up under the sun, whether you believe in that or not. That's what it says. So there's nothing new that one can go through that one hasn't already experienced. So sometimes when we are vocal, then we should be to our born into family. Sometimes we can overstep our boundaries because there's biases, because they're like, that's my baby, or that's my brother, that's my sister, or he don't need to treat you like that, she don't need to talk to you like that, or you need somebody else. And they're looking at you from, that's my family member, I don't want my family member to be hurt. But the fact of the matter is, nobody walks this earth is gonna never live a carefree or hurt-free life. We're not exempt from life. We're all gonna be hurt at some point. We're all gonna be disappointed. We're all gonna be betrayed at some point. So sometimes in the midst of telling what your business is, sometimes always the best advice is not given. They think they're giving the best advice, because they want to protect you in some type of way. But all the time, that's not the best form of fashion. And so what I found out to be true is sometimes you have to keep quiet. Sometimes you have to go to a silent place. Sometimes you have to be in the midst. Sometimes you got to cry that thing out. Sometimes you got to pillow talk it out. Sometimes you have to cuss each other out. I'm just going to be real, because it's not going to be all butter and peaches and cream, because life happens when bills are due, and your husband acting crazy, and you don't know what's going on with you, and you acting crazy, and the kids acting crazy, and everything is haywire, and it's like everything is going wrong. Sometimes you have to find that place, and that place is solidarity. So sometimes that place is in a quiet place without you involving anybody, and God will reveal, or the Most High will reveal things to you, and you can come back to your spouse and not have to worry about the things that you said prior to someone else or family members that they're going to hold, when you guys have made up. That, when you tell them an issue, they're not there. All they can think about is the issue. But when you make up, they're not there in that process. So when you make up, nobody cares about the makeup. They're just thinking about the F up. You understand what I'm saying?
Exactly.
They're thinking about what you said he did, or what you said she done. So when you see them, or when you bring them into the presence of your family, that's all they can focus on. So sometimes we have to be in a place where we can just hold our hands up and say, okay, what do I do next, God? You see what I'm saying? It's not about that all the time. Sometimes God will put you in a place by yourself, for yourself, so you can get better for the one that you're with, and vice versa. If you can understand that.
Okay. Very well put, sister. Hey, and I know I'm trying to cram it all in. Like I said, this is our first show. We appreciate the positive feedback. We just digging off into issues of just common issues of relationships, and what we want out of this is, man, we want people to start building stronger relationships. We want people to, start growing with one another. You know what I'm saying? We want, success, man, because it's like being in a relationship now is like not the normal. The normal now is like being single.
It's like being in a relationship is
at least that's what they try to make it as, like the single life is such
the best life.
The best life, when really you miserable, man, and you know it. You going home to
some
yourself.
people like being single.
Yeah, some people do. Some people it works for some people.
Let's not, exclude.
Yeah, we ain't gonna throw all of them under the bus.
We're not gonna throw everybody in one category.
And we ain't gonna even act like the marriage life is the best life, because sometimes it's not.
Well, I mean, it's you gotta have a certain kind of back for this life.
Absolutely, a strong back. It got the word.
He told y'all it was brought to by Hennessy. I ain't trying to promote nobody.
Absolutely,
I ain't promote nobody, because Hennessy ain't giving me no money. They ain't giving me no money.
No, they ain't no sponsor, but they definitely in the house.
I'm not putting nobody on the map, because I ain't getting no check. When you cut the check, then I can endorse you. But I definitely understand where you're coming from, but I think the point that we are trying to make as a married union is that marriage ain't dead, y'all. You know what I'm saying? True love still exists if you want it to. I think it's a choice. I think it's a choice, and I think we live in such a microwave society, and society have put such a bad name on relationship and marriages that a lot of people feel like it's a burden. And we're not saying it's gonna be easy, which anything worth fighting for ain't easy. You see, if you really, really, really think about anything you really wanted bad, it took some fighting, it took some sacrifice, it took you saving, it took you, going without something to be able to provide something for you later on that you really wanted. So this is the best life for me. I don't know no other life. I've been with this man 17 years. I've been with this man since I was 16, before I even came into womanhood. I understand this is not everybody's life, but it is my life. And I'm okay with it. I love it. I don't see life any other way. And we're here to just let you know, for the people, to encourage you. We want to be encouragers to you, to let you know that if you want this life, it's possible. That if you're going through something, you can make it out. That you can succeed. You can get to the other side of the fence, or you can get to the other side of the, beyond the jungle. I don't know why this is coming, but it is. It's for somebody. Beyond the jungle. If you can get through the jungle, on the other side of the jungle, there's paradise.
Come on now.
But you got to go through something.
You got to go through it.
To get to the milk and honey. You got to go through something. You got to go through the mud to get to, you see, the brighter side. So you can't think that life is going to yield you fruits if you're not able to dig through the mud and get what you really want. You have to sacrifice. And a lot of people don't know a lot about that term or that word. And we hear it in church, and we go to church every Sunday, and we praise God and this and third. But we still live in the same life. We still bearing the same fruits. And if you want something different out of your life, you have to change something in your life. Sometimes it ain't the man. Sometimes it's you.
Come on now.
You see?
Let's keep it 100. That's what this show is all about.
Sometimes it's not the woman. It could be that man. So you have to know your position. And we've been through so many things. And even with me being the age I am, and my husband being the age he is, and him being 7 years my senior, my husband has taught me a lot. You see, and I credit a lot of things to him, because he came into my life at such a young age that a lot of things I did not know. So I'm not afraid to attribute a lot of things that I know, a lot of things that, and where I am today comes, or it was brought on or helped by my husband. I was a baby, you know. I was a little girl who thought I was grown, which a lot of us do, and I thought I was ready for a life that I was not ready for. But God still had me in the midst of things that I thought I wasn't ready for. He still kept me. He still carried us. He still provided for us. He still, you know, as the Bible says, and I hate, you know, doing this, but as the Bible says, that he can provide for the lilies of the field. Shall he not provide for his children? So a lot of times we get caught up in stuff. And I just want to encourage people to stop getting caught up in the materialistic things of life, because life is only a moment. Life is like a vapor. One minute you're here, the next minute you're gone. It doesn't matter about the material things. It's about, what are you doing now? What are you doing to help somebody now? What are you doing to empower somebody now? What are you giving of yourself now at this point in this stage in your life? Because once you go to the grave, you can't take nothing with you. So what are you giving forth? You see what I'm saying? What are you putting forth into the atmosphere? Because whatever you give forth, will the universe will yield back to you. So we don't want to come to you as we know it all, but we think that for the people who it applies to, we want to help. We want to create an atmosphere where that you can do whatever you want to do. You see, all things start in the mind first. And so if you can conceive it, you can believe it, you can do it. I don't care what nobody says. I don't care where you come from. I don't care what your family status is. I don't care if you come from the poorest of the poorest or the richest of the richest. At the end of the day, we still bleed red. We still have a beating heart. We still have a functioning mind. And we're all dysfunctional in some way, form, or fashion. So we're not coming to you as we psychiatrists or psychologists, or we're trying to do this or do that, but we understand that everybody needs something in their life, because that's just the way that the Creator has created us. He created us to yield forth something else. You see what I'm saying? Bigger than where you are right now. So we encourage you guys. We love you guys, and we hope that this broadcast and that these, you know, blogs will bless you in some kind of way, form, or fashion, that you can move forward.
And again, since I appreciate you, man, you coming with some real powerful words tonight. I just want to come back on something that you said, going through the history of how we met. You know what I'm saying? You got to keep in mind, and I want the people out there to keep in mind too, that this is from your perspective, from your life. Because when you said, how we hooked up, and you were such a young person, and we kind of grew on each other, and true enough, you taught me a lot, I taught you a lot. But then again, you got to think about, you talking to some self-made women out here. You talking to some sisters out here that's fully grown. And they are high school sweetheart or whatever. He long gone. He in the wind. So they just out here now. You see what I'm saying? I'm talking about from 25 to 35 to 45 to 55 and maybe 65. I think at that age you just sit your ass down somewhere. But hey, they still out here at 65 trying to get it in. So you gotta think of how many different type of women you talking to. So again, this is from your perspective and how you look at things. Some will agree, some won't agree. But I actually think that this show will probably help more young women than older women.
Right. Because
older women are more kind of like caught up in their ways.
They set in their ways.
You know what I'm saying? And older men too. We kind of caught up in our ways, and once we get to a certain age, we like, ain't nobody gonna change me. I am who I am, and it is what it is. Right. But we can learn from anybody. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, the bottle again brought to you by.
Stop endorsing these people, please.
Well, that's my favorite drink, man. Okay. But anyway, yeah, and it went. Hey, now I'm gonna keep that to myself. But like I said, this is our anniversary, and it was just some nasty stuff just happened before we got on this video camera. I'm gonna say that. I got 2 more questions. And we're going to wrap this thing on up because we went, I think, past 30 minutes. We're trying to keep these things 30 minutes apiece. 2 more questions. How, as a married woman, 17 years, with 3 children, how is that life? Because sometimes we never ask a woman about the stress level of dealing with children, the cooking, the cleaning, the yelling, the school, the dressing, the ironing, the bath, take the bath, get in the tub, wash your face, brush your teeth, lie till you in your face. These kids are something else. They will make you kill yourself if you ain't strong. How do you get through it, sister? How do you get through it? Talk to them.
Choking people, that's how I get through it. Look, there's no manual in raising children.
It's not.
There's no right and wrong way, it's a, as you go, flow kind of thing. It's hard. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna sit up here and tell no story, because all I can do is tell my truth. But it's hard because women, we're expected to do so much. We gotta cook, we gotta clean, we gotta be there for the kids, we gotta homework, we gotta laundry, we gotta sweep, we gotta mop, we gotta take care of the husband, we gotta take care of the kids, we gotta go to the school with progress report, we gotta go to work, we got it takes us, and that's why a lot of times we're frustrated. A lot of times we cannot verbalize. A lot of times men say, I can't read your mind, but a lot of times we want you to read our mind because we're going through so much. As my dad used to tell me, man work from sun up to sundown, but a woman's work never done. Hands up if you hear me, because it's like you're never done. It's like no matter what you do, how much you clean, how much you cook, whatever, there's always something to do in the house. So sometimes we're stressed. Sometimes we are depressed. Sometimes we do not know how to verbalize that. Sometimes we come out, we lash out, we cuss you out, we, we're off. we're off. We can be very off because a lot of times when we don't have anybody to express that to, or we feel like our significant others do not understand that stress, or we're saying, okay, I need a minute. Let me get out for a second. Keep the kids. I don't want to keep the kids or take somebody. You're like, no, I don't need to take nobody with me because I'm tired. Let me get a minute. Sometimes it's just a run to the store. Sometimes it's just a spa treatment. Sometimes, ladies, we have to learn how to do things for ourselves, because if we don't get our mind right, nothing ain't right. Because when you think about it, we touch everybody in the household. The woman is so powerful because not only do we conceive a child, but we carry the child for 9 months and deal with that. Not only do we give birth to the child, we deal with that. Not only do we have to feed and provide for the child, we deal with that, but then we have to deal with other things in the house, and including the husband, and deal with that. And all while doing that, we're expected to do other things in the midst of that. So a lot of times we feel forgotten. A lot of times we feel like we're taking care of everybody else, but who's taking care of me? You see? And so a lot of times we're off. And we don't know how to say we're off, but we off. And because we argue, or we may ask you to do one thing, and you may feel like, as the man, I don't feel like doing that. I'm tired. I worked all day. And then the woman's feeling like, or we're feeling like, well, I worked all day too. You see what I'm saying? So I don't want, when I say let me go somewhere, I feel like I'm asking you to babysit our kids. Like, that's your job too. Your job. Well, I didn't have them by myself. So when I want to get a minute, I don't feel like that I need to drag somebody along with me, because if you all understood that I'm trying to get my mind right, not just for me, but for you as the husband and for the kids, so I can continue to give and I can put out. So I'm not going to say it's an easy thing. It's doable. I think you can have other, females that you talk to who is relatable. Sometimes that can get stress off you, because if you have other women and they're going through things as well, you can put it out on the atmosphere. But I think we need to be open and transparent with our husbands, because I don't think they all the time know, because they go through what they go through and they feel as though we don't understand them. So I think coming to the table and coming up with solutions of how can we relieve each other. But see, that only comes to a point of communication. You have to be able to communicate with your spouse. You have to be able to be honest. A lot of times we're not honest. A lot of times the man say, what's wrong with you, man? What's wrong with you? I don't know. And yeah, and we give this, and he knows something's not right, but he can't read our minds. So sometimes we have to just be honest and say, this is what's wrong with me. I'm tired. I don't feel like cooking. You cook. You get something to eat. You do this because this is how I'm feeling, and
we
as
all
well,
get like that.
And as well as
man and woman.
As a man, again, I was gonna say that, as well as a man need to be honest with his significant other and let her know, because we don't always know exactly what you guys are going through as well.
And man, that's awesome. You know what I'm saying? And I have so many questions, but again, this show ain't but so long.
2-3 hours.
Yeah, this show ain't but so long. We ain't trying to, we know people's attention span is real short. We probably done already been on for like 45, 50 minutes. But I'm going to end it with a special kind of question tonight. I'm going to always have that Jack in the Box kind of question. And this question here is, people may want to deal with it, may want to hear it, may not, but we all do it. Like I said, this keeping it real right here, straight 100, plus something. So, with that being said, 17 years. Hey man, that sex can get real boring, you know what I'm saying? Like, that sex game can get thrown off, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, like, how do you keep that sex game going 17 years in the game? Like, man, you can get tired of each other, man. Like that same old D.
I have actually something to say for this.
That same old D, that same old P. Come on now. Talk to me, sister. How do you keep this thing
Okay, y'all,
going?
Listen, I'm gonna try to keep this short as possible because I actually have something to say in reference to this that I think is really, really, really important.
Talk to him.
17 years, I've been knowing you since I was 16 years old. So y'all do the math. I ain't gonna tell y'all my age, but it is what it is. But
she a grown woman now.
But for me, how it lasted this long, there's a couple of reasons. Number one, I have never stepped out on my husband. Never. I've never slept with another man. 17 years.
That's still in question and under heavy investigation.
There's no investigation.
I'm just playing.
There's nothing heavy to think about. He can think about it, but I know. That's the difference. You see, but
I definitely believe you, baby.
Seriously, I've never stepped out on him. And he's always asked me a question. What about this? You ain't thought about this? Well, what about this? None of that matters to me because I'm content with me, number one. I'm okay with me. Mm-hmm. I know me. You see? And because I know me, and because I have standards, because I have morals, and not saying sisters out there who cheat don't, but I'm just speaking from my perspective, so don't get offended. Because there's a certain kind of life I want to live, and I'm such a loyal person, there was no need for me to do that. Number two, I still have interest in the man I'm in love with. There's not, or there's never been any outside influences to influence me to go one way or another. Not saying that there could not have been if I kept things going, or I initiated, or when a man initiated, I kept it going, because you can make life whatever you want to make it. But I've never been interested in going to the left nor the right because I was always okay with who I was with. That's not saying that life has always been great. That's not saying that everything's been peachy and rosy. That's not saying we haven't went through our share of issues. None of that. But I never had a desire to be with another man because my desire and my want and my need has always came from the man that I was with, the man who is interviewing me right now. I never wanted and had the desire to be with another man. Let me tell you something, ladies. You cannot fix an inside problem going on the outside. So
that's deep.
So when you're having problems,
hold on, say that again. Say that one more time. That's deep right there. I definitely, that kind of touched something in my spirit. Say it one more time. You say what now, sister? You
cannot fix an inside problem going on the outside, or you cannot go on the outside trying to fix an inside problem.
I know we're running a little short on time, but break that down in detail just a little bit.
What I mean by that is if your man is not doing A, B, C, D all the way up to Z, then it's your job as a woman to tell him. It's your job to tell him what you are lacking. It's your job to tell him what you need. He may not know what you need. He may not have been taught. You know, even though he's been with a slew of women, that woman wasn't you. And so every woman is different. Every woman has their things that they do or don't do or like or don't like. You know, the chick he was with before you could have liked, some position, or could have liked one thing or another. You may not like that, and you don't want to hurt his feelings, but it's not hurting his feelings, it's telling the truth so you can be happy and he can too.
Tell him what you want. I'll be the first to say, as men, we don't all the time know what y'all want, but if you verbalize what you want and be assertive and aggressive, tell a brother what you want. Don't just say, okay, he ain't doing this, or he ain't doing that, or he don't please me, or he don't do this in this type of way. He may not know.
And ladies, sometimes we want different stuff at different times. Let's just keep it real.
Come on now.
Sometimes you might want it this way. Sometimes you might want it flap. Sometimes you want it up. Sometimes you want it down.
Come on.
Sometimes you want it dip. Sometimes you want it to the side. You know what I'm talking about?
to him.
It don't just all happen overnight. But you cannot be scared. And if it's not a right time, find a right time. Cut off the TV.
Even if it's hurting, tell him when it's hurting.
You gotta
don't
tell
let him
him.
don't let him just apply pain to you like that. And you know what I'm saying? And you like, this dude hurting me, but I just want to please him. No, if it's not pleasing to you, you let that brother know. Brother,
Right
you
on,
hurting me. Go a little softer.
Right on, bro.
You know?
'Cause you know.